Hi, everybody.
George, thanks so much for joining us, mate. Congratulations on the fight. You did put in a great effort, and went all 12 rounds. It was an awesome fight to watch. Thank you for joining us as well. You never looked hurt throughout the fight. How did that feel? Because the last couple of rounds you didn't seem to want to engage. Was that frustrating for you? How are you feeling about the fight from an analysis point at this stage?
Yeah, look, I thought I hurt him a few times, but that's his game. He likes to run and move, and if he feels that he's ahead on the scorecards, he'll do his thing. But I'm not going to take away from his night. I've been there before when Lopez did that to me, so I'd be a piece of shit if I'd done that to him. But there is a few things where I thought, they were should have been pulled up. But all the best to him. He's the champion now, from what the judges said, and we do it again.
Was there?
Do you agree with the cards?
I felt the fight was very close. From what I've been told, I outlanded him, I outpunched him. You saw the fight, so he had a jab, but there wasn't much else. I think he might have landed one or two right hands, but that's about it. There wasn't really nothing else. So my body does not feel like I've been through a 12-round war like I was with a Lopez fight, because we went through it. So that's just a few marks. But if you jumped in there with me too, you'd be the same. Hey, look, I'm the man in the arena. At the end of the day, I made this happen. If I didn't choose this, to protect records, I could have fought an easy fight. And look at me, I knocked someone out in 2 rounds. But I take the risk, and that's part of the risk. You take risk, you reap reward. But it was his night tonight, and all the best. And you sure that the adversity that I've got to go through now, I'll be back hungrier than ever.
It might be tough to ask this question now, Georgie, but stylistically, have you got thoughts on what you need to change up to beat him in a rematch?
Yeah, I know what I've got to do to beat him in the rematch. We had them game plans. Unfortunately, we couldn't implement the way we wanted to. The ref did let a few things go as well, which should have been, pulled up a touch. But it is what it is. I'll go back to the drawing board with my team, and congratulations to Devin Haney and his team for the win. They came all the way out here, like I did with Lopez, and they got the win today. But I'll be back.
Do you expect a rematch, and if so, when and where would you like to have it?
As soon as possible. Do it tomorrow if you want. I feel great, so it is what it is, and hopefully by the end of the year, November, we do it again.
Yeah, 100%.
Look, I gave him the shot. No one else was going to give him a shot. There was too much politics involved for him and Lopez and him and Lomachenko. I straight away was a man of my word, and I said, okay, let's just make sure it made sense. Obviously, he's going to want to make sure it makes sense on his end, but let's get it done. And let's give the fans a great fight. Let's fight.
George, where did it go wrong for you, and do you feel you were as sharp as you were against Lopez?
Yeah, look, I was sharp in points. I landed some very good shots. I hurt him a few times. I felt like every time I landed clean, he was hurt. So, he just fought his game off that jab. He just boxed off that jab and did his holding. He did hold a lot. He did get low. Every time I tried to exchange, he held and dropped into that hip. So, it is what it is.
Yeah, but there's no excuses. No excuses.
Did he do anything you didn't expect in there or didn't plan for?
Yeah, look, I thought he would have fought a little bit more, but he's a good fighter. Don't get me wrong, he's a good fighter. This is a high level, it was a high level chess match. I tried to make it a little bit more aggressive. He boxed his fight, and the judges had him the winner tonight, and all respect to him and his team. And this is boxing. Like I said, I'm here never to protect the record. I've had a hard journey, as we know. We've been through the hardest journey, I feel, in boxing, and I'll give him his applause tonight. Humble in defeat, and and in victory as well.
George, would you like to fight? George, would you like to fight in Sydney, in your hometown, maybe the new stadium?
I think the way that Derek and Lou and Bob can probably answer this one. I think he'll be back here in Melbourne, but I love Melbourne. Look at the crowd today. Look at the fans behind me, and even after the defeat, they all stood there and were so applauding of the fight. So I love that. I respect that so much, and thank you to the fans and to the media and everybody here today. And I'm very proud to have brought a great fight in Australian boxing.
George, fantastic performance. What would you say to the how this is laying the path for the Australian boxing for the youngsters in the future?
Yeah, look, this is not the end for me. We will get it on again, and I will handle my business next time. But at the end of the day, this is a great thing for young kids, amateurs, aspiring professionals, and I'll continue doing my best. And I'm very proud to have brought a big fight here, and proud to bring another big fight again by the end of the year, and there'll be more to come for these young amateurs, these young professionals, and that's why me and my father have Ferocious Promotions to help these guys. I got to the top. I did get to the top, and I'm still at the top, with or without a belt. I know who I am as a fighter, as a champion, and the belts, don't make me a champion. It's who I am in here, and who I am fighting the best of the best. So this brought Australia together. This brought the Greek community together, and I'm sure this brought the world together as well.
We love you, George.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, look, it's an amazing thing. Look, I've come from very humble beginnings where I was bullied and had to fight through that. So I've been through a lot more adversity than just a boxing fight and tasting defeat for the first time tonight. I'm very honoured to have my kids here. I had my two are here, my other one's in the back, they're my baby. So to have them ringside, it means a lot, and I hope the memories for them is something great, and I'm sure they're going to get to see it again, and Dad will be champion again with the belts, but I know ultimately they don't care about that. They care that Dad's happy and safe.
Question for Jim. Jim, did the advice change in the corner throughout the rounds as the fight was going on and George started to go down by a couple of rounds? Did you feel like you had to adjust the game plan, or what were you saying to George in the corners?
Oh, he basically just had to put more pressure on Devin, and he just let Devin get too comfortable all the time. So if you're going to be comfortable with that jab, you're not going to be able to get inside. So, George had to basically just execute what we did at training, and the way we prepared was extremely well. I mean, we had a better camp this time round than what we did with Lopez. But their game plan was to bank the rounds. And then if you're letting them bank the rounds with that jab and moving, and obviously, there's no excuses at all, but the referee basically, with the holding and stuff like that, usually, you get warned and maybe a point taken off. But when the other fighters, his momentum is always stopped, that there means that George's got to reset. But at that point, Devin's resetting with that jab, So, but look, there was a few mistakes there. We know that, it's evident. I mean, we're professionals, mate. So the thing is, we're going to execute and look at it all. And George has to start fast. That's what he has to do. He's got to make Devin uncomfortable from the get-go, not let him bank the rounds, and then you're playing catch-up. So George, actually in the 6th round, he started to roll, and he was very comfortable, and you can see he was starting to land. But you're playing catch-up. It's as simple as that. So some of the shots weren't as sweet, but that's the name of the game.
And one thing I want to say too, he could have taken a much easier route.
Easily, yeah.
There was a lot of money on the table just to fight anyone, and didn't have to go. Could have gone into the 22,000 seat indoor arena and sold it out, basically fighting anyone. And frankly, that's what most fighters do. He fought this for personal legacy. He also fought it for the good of boxing. And lastly, and I really mean this, he fought it for the good of Australian boxing. He believed that this country deserved a stadium fight with a great champion defending against the best available contender. When Loma went back to Ukraine to defend his country, he didn't make it an option for me to get anybody else. He said, you go make a fight with Haney, you do what you have to do to go make a fight with Haney. And I'm not going to tell you that I didn't say, are you sure about that? Because I did. But he wanted that not only for himself, he thought it was right for the sport, because the best need to fight the best. That's how we elevate our sport. But he also has a vision for the future of boxing in this country. We have a lot of up-and-coming young talent here. Boxing in this country has never been stronger than it is right now. And George making that decision to fight the best in a stadium here, draw 42,000 people who I think came in and had a great time today. Applaud this man because he's a great champion.
And that goes down to my confidence as well. We fight tomorrow. I'm going to beat him tomorrow. So that goes down to my belief in myself, and nothing changes. We will change game plans again, and we'll make go back to the drawing board. But my confidence will always be at a sky high, and that's who I am as a person, as a fighter. And I think we all need to be confident in anything we do in life. So it is what it is. That's the sport. Tennis players, soccer teams, rugby league teams, AFL teams. They lose, they win, they bounce back, and they win the championship at the end. So it's not about where you finish. It's about your next steps. This is not the end for me.
And not only that, it's the lightweight division. It's the hottest division. So if you have a look what it's done in the past, you've had Lomachenko, the champ, he went out and chased Lopez for that last belt. Lopez beats him. George Kambosos has been the mandatory unknown Australian in New York. He beats Lopez. Devin Haney comes down here. And that's great for boxing because you get champions constantly ticking over. You don't have got that one champ. So, you know, it's great for boxing. The lightweight division is the best division at the moment. And we get another opportunity at the end of the year with a rematch clause in Victoria. And I think this time round, you know, we just have to execute a little bit better and just don't give him a bit of a head start. We've got to start fast.
Stephen Cudeno, KO Artist Sports. Congratulations, man, on putting on this incredible event here. It's because of you that we're all here. Looking at the jab and how that just was able to kind of neutralize, how do you, is it maybe footwork you got to work on to get into to move it, head movement? What is it that you were lacking that he was able to land it?
I think when I started to apply the pressure in certain points of the fight, we saw how uncomfortable he was. I try to bank on my counter punch because, as we know, I'm very destructive as a counter puncher as well. But he just worked that jab, you know, better than what I did with my jab, and got off a few times when I should have, you know, put the pace a little bit more. But we saw when I started putting the pace, you know, he was in a point where he would hold, hitting with good shots, and I thought I was never hurt in the fight, not once. He was hurt, I feel, multiple times to the body and with some good shots to the head as well. But you know, that's what it's about. You know, he boxed well. You know, he used what he had to do to win the fight, and it is what it is. You know, he got the win tonight, and I'm sure I'll bounce back.
Thank you.
Question for Lou and Paul. Who impressed you guys based on the undercard?
I mean, this was Jason's night on the undercard. I mean, honestly, for me, I mean, he's his promoter, but I've always been a fan of Jason, but tonight I thought he put everything together. I thought it was the best performance of his career.
Yeah, Jason and his brother, because they've, particularly during the pandemic, fought so often in the States. I mean, he's almost regarded as both of them regarded as American fighters because they fight so often on ESPN, and they're very, very popular.
One last thing. You know, I'm a big proponent of women's boxing, and that's been a sort of a cause for me over recent years. Tyler Robertson's a good little fighter. I expect her to eventually win a world championship. I thought she impressed me tonight.
Lou and Bob, if say for some reason Haney decides to vacate, which would be a possibility, what would happen then? Like, would George automatically fight for a title next up?
Well, nothing's automatic, but if he moved up in weight, for example, which I don't think he's going to stay around at 135 much longer, frankly, but if he moved up in weight, for example, titles would vacate, the likelihood would be George would fight the biggest fight that could be made for a vacant title. And that probably, if he, God willing, the people of the Ukraine are rescued from the carnage that's ripping them apart right now. That fucking madman Putin, you know, is forced to stand down, and Loma gets out of there. Loma and George would be enormous.
Yeah, and I got to give respect as well to Vasily Lomachenko as well, because obviously, as we know, he was the first choice originally, and obviously Devin was there as well. And you know, what he's doing is much bigger than what we're doing here today. So if that is the case, then I would welcome that fight with open arms. But let's hope Devin, as I gave him a shot, he stays at 135 and we do it again, because I got to get that back now. I have to.
Yeah, that's, you know, I'm glad George said that, because this has all been a bittersweet time for me, because I am so fond of Lomachenko. Vasily is one of the best advertisements for the sport of boxing. For him to turn down this fight in order to fight for his country, where he didn't have to do it because the Minister of Culture in Ukraine gave him permission to come out and do this fight, and he refused because he felt that his duty was to defend his country. You got to give him all the props in the world, all the props, and Lou's categorization of what's happening and who's to blame for what's happening is dead on. I mean, Mr. Putin is a disgrace to humanity.
Don't bring politics into boxing.
What?
That's not politics, brother.
That isn't politics, right? You don't.
That's humanity, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Final question for George or Jimmy.
Actually, that guy said about my face too. So, I know you're not very liked at the moment, my friend.
Thanks, guys.
Fine.
We're good.
We're good.
How much are you looking forward to bouncing back better and bigger and better, mate?
Yeah, look, I've been through the adversities many times. So, sometimes, look, true champions bounce back. The greats, Muhammad Ali's, my idol, Duran, all these guys bounce back, and that's what makes their legacy. So, this is what's written for me today. Then I will bounce back hungrier than ever, and that's what it's about. The best find the best. So,
The greatest beauty of boxing is not the fact that people get knocked down; it's that they get up.
yes,
Right.
And it's what you do when you get up.
and I was
And
knocked
George
down.
Kambosos will get up. He's already up.
I was knocked down by TFE, mate. I got up and won them championships, and today, obviously, I was not knocked down in the ring. I never really hurt, but in defeat, yes, I'm knocked down, and I will bounce back. You know, and thank you to the country, everybody here in Melbourne, the media, the whole of America. Thank you, Lou. Thank you, Bob. You know, my team, obviously, my father co-manager Jim Kambosos, my other co-manager Peter Khan, and ultimately, no one believed in us for a very long time. We had to prove that to win these championships on overseas, and again they're going to doubt us, but that probably just lit up the flame even more. So I'll be back.
And I think
Thank you, everybody.
I think your two beautiful kids, they're going to remind you about Daddy didn't bring that belt home, because they did tell you, Daddy, go and get that belt. So I know that you don't need that motivation,
No,
but
I'll-
that was so beautiful when your two kids said that in the dressing room before you walked out. So that there is just going to give you a little bit more when this thing gets around, and depending who it is. And let's see who it is at the end of the year. If he vacates, well, then we can talk business again and see where we're at. But definitely Australia. That's right, Lou? Yep. Yeah, 100%.
Awesome. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much. Yeah, my kids.